students, I'm Aanchal Sharma, your educator for paper 1. We have been discussing different PYQs and the concepts related to those videos, right? And those PYQs as well. So this is the last lap, as we all know, and we are discussing PYQs. Again, we are going to discuss the PYQs for teaching aptitude. This is the first question that I have for you. The phrase TL mode of teaching implies that teaching and learning are independent acts. The main word should be, you should read the sentences again and again, and you should see which is the important word in that line. Teaching and learning are integrally related activities or acts. They are integrally related. Teaching aims at learning and teaching causes learning. So what do you mean by the phrase T and L? So what is TL model for you? This is the basic question that they are asking. This is the answer. The answer is that teaching and learning are integrally related acts. So this is the right answer. That means B becomes the right answer. Now, first of all, I'll tell you we'll of course discuss what all are the categories that are given to you, what all are the options that are given to you, and then we'll discuss why this is the particular right answer. So teaching and learning are independent acts. Now this statement is of course wrong. Why? Because teaching and learning are not actually independent, but they are codependent on one another. As we all know that teaching is a bipolar, tripolar, in fact a quadripolar process. So what do you mean by this line? Teaching is a bipolar process. First of all, how? Because we always have a teacher and a learner, and both of them are dependent on one another. Whenever we have a teaching process going on, there should be a learner present. Otherwise, why is the teacher teaching? Whenever there are learners, that means there should be a teacher present. Teaching is what? Teaching is the delivering of the knowledge from a more knowledgeable one to a less knowledgeable one, which states that both of them are important. So students are important and teacher is important too. Hence you can say that teaching is a bipolar process, right? Because two elements are involved. Now if I say three elements are also involved, the third element for you is that yes, there is a teacher, there is a learner, but what is important between these two is the environment as well. So what is the environment of my class? What all are the factors that can affect my classroom? For example, say noise. This is the most easy example that you can take. There is repeated noise in my class. Do you think that proper teaching and learning process can go on? Definitely not. This means that there are three elements that are involved in teaching, while some say that teaching is a quadripolar process. So there are four elements involved. So these four elements would be what? There would be the teacher, there would be the learner, then of course there would be the environment as I told you, and then there would be content. So whatever the teacher is teaching, whatever the content the teacher is teaching you becomes important for us. Hence all of these things are integrally dependent on one another. That is why we can say that teaching and learning are interrelated, and this is the model, TL model. Yes, teaching aims at learning, but there are other things as well. Teaching aims at conditioning, behavioral changes as well, not only learning. And teaching causes learning. Yes, teaching causes learning, but this is not the model. We are talking about the TL model, which says that T and L are dependent on one another. That is why I say that B is the correct answer. The phrase TL model implies that teaching and learning are interrelated and integrally related acts. Teaching and learning is a process that includes many variables. These variables interact as the learner works towards their own goals and incorporate new knowledge, behaviors, set of skills according to the different ranges of learning. So teaching is a process by which one individual would teach and instruct another individual. So there is always a delivering of knowledge that is done by one person who is the instructor, the facilitator, the teacher, the guider, the one who is telling you all these things, and the other who is just at the receiving end, that are the learners in the classroom. So learning is the process of acquiring new knowledge, taking new knowledge, receiving new knowledge, and there is new understanding, behavior, new skills, new values, attitudes, and maintaining new preferences. So there is always a change in the perception, performance, behavior, knowledge, skills, and you can say values whenever there is teaching. So teaching and learning is a process through which the teacher and the learner, and of course the curriculum, the content can be the curriculum for you, are these variables that are organized, and whatever is your preset notions, whatever is your goal, that is being achieved. Now we have another question. Teaching differs from training and conditioning. How do you can say that? What do they promote? So teaching differs from training and conditioning insofar as it promotes what? What is one thing that teaching is promoting that the conditioning is not promoting? Discipline drill, critical thinking, steady associations, and mastery of facts. What do you think that teaching promotes? So we discussed in the previous classes in the different PYQ sessions that teaching is very different from training. Teaching is different from indoctrination. Now what do you mean by indoctrination? So indoctrination is just drilling of the facts in the minds of the learner. You are just blatantly saying and asking someone to follow you without critically analyzing that thing. That means this is not teaching, because in teaching there will definitely be a holistic growth, there will be a overall growth in the mind of a person, while indoctrination is only drilling of the facts. For example, if you say you don't have to cross the road because we saw just a black cat crossing the road. These are the old principles, old values that keep on trickling down. So these are the rudimentary discipline and all these things that you don't have to follow. Teaching will change you as a person. Not only drilling of facts is teaching. Yes, at certain point of time, even a teacher would say you have to learn all these things. But indoctrination would be very different than teaching. Again, teaching is different from instruction, because instruction is just giving bypass, just telling you what you have to do, while teaching is overall growth. That is education. A whole soul personality change is teaching. Then teaching is also different from conditioning. How is that different? Because conditioning is changing your personality, while teaching is also telling you what all are the critical things, that critical thinking capabilities that you have to actually learn. So when you are conditioning someone, you are changing their behavioral characteristics. That is conditioning, right? So Ivan Pavlov and B.R. Skinner talked about conditioning. In that, the sound of the, the mind of the organism where you are doing all those experiments on which you are trying to apply those theories are not that fully used. You are just trying to give them stimulus. That is conditioning, shaping their personality. But what if I'm talking about all the three domains working together? There is a cognitive growth, there is a psychomotor growth, affective growth. This will say that teaching is a critical thinking activity. This is the right answer, that is B, and you'll see what is teaching. Teaching aims at actually development of your own potential, overall growth. The scope of training is broader here. Whatever there is a scope of teaching, that is extremely broader. Reinforcement in teaching is not necessary. So there is no reinforcement needed. It's just a whole soul growth that happens. So in teaching, curriculum is also very comprehensive, while in conditioning, you are only looking at one set of skills. Conditioning aims at modification of the behavior and learning of one particular habit. Here we had an example that conditioning was done on a dog, that he would salivate when it would look at the different kind of food, or the bell is also rung, then also the dog would salivate. So this is what? This is conditioning, and one set of skill is known. Conditioning is narrower than teaching. It plays a vital role in conditioning the kind of person you are, that is the behavior, and of course it is the fixed set of principles that we are talking about. Then there is the assertion, statement 1 question and statement wise questions. So we have one statement and we have another statement, and these statements will tell you about one particular thing, or can tell you about different things also that can be related in a different manner. So now it's up to you, and you have to read the question and then learn. So This is the statement 1. Use of support materials during the teaching can replace teaching act if used carefully. Do you think the teaching of the you can say using of the support materials are useful and that can even replace the teaching process? Then online methods are effective supplements of improving the quality of teaching and learning. So both the statement 1 and statement 2 are true. Statement 1, statement 2 are false. Statement 1 is false, but statement 2 is true. Statement 1 is true, but the statement 2 is false. So what is the correct answer? So the correct answer is C, that statement 1 is completely false and statement 2 is true. How? We'll be looking at that. So the first statement is use of the support materials during the teaching can replace teaching act if used carefully. So what all are the support materials? So these support materials are like teaching aids. They are your TAs. They are the teaching aids that the teacher uses in the class. Now this can be a set of questionnaire, or you can say pamphlets, or I can also use projectors, overhead projectors, and I can use slides. I can even use boards, bulletin boards, peg boards. All of these things act as the materials that I'm using in my class to teach my class. But do you think that they can replace the teaching? No, they can facilitate the teaching. Hence, they are called as the facilitators. They are the teaching aids. They are the aids that the teacher used to teach in the class. A good teaching aid is that teaching aid that can complement the teacher while teaching. What all are the characteristics of these teaching aid? First, they should be easily available, not too costly. Also, this will make the class more innovative and my students would gel in the class with me. They would participate in the class with me. That is why teaching aids are used, so that my class will not become that monotonous. So, for example, I'm teaching you geography and I'm just talking you in, that about the different states and about different countries and about different wind currents, and I'm not showing you it on the map. If I show these things on the map, the things will become more easy. The using the process or the method of teaching of demonstration will make my teaching more easy. So what can I say? That teaching aids will help me in teaching, but it can never replace the teaching process. This conventional method of teacher being present is more useful than using of the teaching aids. Then comes the online methods being effective supplements. Yes, online methods are effective supplements because a class can also happen. So there can be a blended class that is going to happen. There can be an online mode and teaching mode. Also, it can be technologies when used in the class can make my class more effective. There can be students who cannot come to the class at that particular time. That will also help them to study properly. So let us see at the explanation. So first statement is the use of the support materials during the class can replace the teaching. So the support materials cannot replace teaching. Support materials are merely like the helping hands. They are like the augmentation of teaching. They are the support materials that you use. They can help in the process of learning, but they certainly cannot replace it. It is significant that we remember teaching is more than just facilitating knowledge. The teacher would also guide, would mentor, would inspire the students, would motivate the student. Teaching itself has a power and it cannot be replaced by any kind of a support material. For instance, an encyclopedia can be a support material that you can read and learn, but a teacher cannot be replaced because it is the teacher that will explain you the different concepts. Thus, we see that the statement 1 is completely wrong. Then comes the statement 2. So, online learning may take several forms. It can be delivering, it can be supporting with the curriculums, etc. So, it can be in a plethora of different forms. So, at the moment and at the basic level, online teaching sources may simply provide a mechanism for the learners to engage asynchronously with the class. Now here comes another interesting word that will definitely be asked in your communication classes. What do you mean by asynchronous communication and synchronous communication? When direct answers are received, when direct communication, when the feedback is received just in your hand, that is what? That is synchronous communication. In time, at a particular time, one conversation is taking place and there is sharing of the facts, and of course feedback is also seen. That is synchronous communication. While asynchronous is when you are receiving the feedback after a particular point of time. So here the two people do not have to be present at that particular time. If they are present, it would be synchronous communication. If they are not present, asynchronous communication. So email or giving some video for a child to see it and then come to the class. That is what? That is asynchronous communication. And you can deliver this asynchronous communication in the form of video, in audios, to make your lecture more interesting, and the students can come in the class already seen that videos. Now this form of content delivering often you can use in the class like podcast, that can be used to re-examine the areas of a lecture and to make the things more clear if it is not clear while delivering the class in the classroom. So alternatively, online sources, whatever we use, explicitly are used for integral teaching, and also blended kind of teaching in the classroom can happen. One important word that is also being asked, it's a PYQ, flipped curriculum can be used. Now what is flipped curriculum? It is that I am not giving you homework after the class. I'm giving you it before the class. So I'm telling you in the tomorrow's class, I'm going to discuss about, say, teaching support materials. So go read them and then come to the class. This is the flipped classroom. And what is blended classroom? So I'm using two modes of teaching in my class. It can be online, offline. 3 days online, 3 days offline. So this can also happen. Right? So this is how we see that online sessions are so important. Finally, online learning can provide full mechanisms and different mechanisms for delivering and accessing of knowledge. Because of these technologies, we came up with the MOOC concept. Now this becomes very important for the exam point of view. They have already asked it, so it's a PYQ for you again, at what is the full form of MOOC, which is the first MOOC, who developed MOOC. So you have to read about MOOCs, and in 2022 there were abundant questions asked from MOOC, and they want you to even know what all are the LMS, what all are the softwares through which the MOOCs can be created. So read about Sky, read about Joomla, and read about Drupal. Read about all these things, and this is going to help you because they are asking in-depth question about SYSYTEM and about MOOC. So they are online teaching materials. What do you mean by SYSYTEM Prabha, SYSYTEM and MOOCs should be clear. Here we are talking about MOOCs. So what is the full form of MOOC? MOOC is the massive open online courses. So these are massively present online courses that anyone can enroll without, the education bar is also not that important, and anywhere at any time you can now carry forward your education again. So this is MOOC, right? And the biggest Indian MOOC that we are using, that is SYSYTEM for us. Right? It is actually a study web for the young aspiring minds. So with the online materials, the students can use their time and integrate that in a proper manner and then can achieve the milestones. So in addition, educators can also use different hyperlinks, can add different contents while studying, and this will make their class more interesting. Hence, you can say the statement 2 is very much the correct statement. Now, one homework from here you have to do, study more about the different kinds of MOOC, also study about SYSYTEM and SYSYTEM Prabha. How many channels are there in SYSYTEM Prabha? So there were 32 channels, but now there are 34. So what all are the 2 channels that are added? Know their name. What all are the different quadrants of SYSYTEM? What all are the different coordinators of SYSYTEM? All these type of questions have been asked, and they can be asked again and again. Which is the satellite. So GSAT is the satellite. Where it is located? It is located in Gandhinagar. All these 5 statements that I told you are your PYQs, and this can be repeated again in any of the teaching exams and of course in our UGC NET again and again. Now let us come to the second question. Now this third question, this is something different that they ask. This is the question, some of the largest and the most successful digital libraries are. This is the question that they ask, and here they are talking about the digital libraries. So what is a digital library? A digital library is by using your internet, you can access the libraries now. So they are asking all these type of questions. Now they are actually interrelating the different domains and the different units. This can be a question from your higher education, and they are combining it with the ICT and teaching. So this is how they are blending all the questions together. This is why I say that the paper is becoming so comprehensive. Hence they can ask anything now. So you should know. Also they have asked about Zoom meetings, and they have asked about Microsoft meetings, Microsoft Teams, how you can create your account on Zoom, how you host a meeting on Zoom. All these things are important because after COVID, so we have seen that these things were at the boom. These applications were being used to teach in the class asynchronously and synchronously. So all these things should be clear. Now, the question for you, some of the largest and the most successful digital libraries are what? It is the Project Gutenberg, it is Microsoft Team, it is Abibla, or it is the Internet Archive, or it is Sakai LMS. So, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is C, that is A, C and D. Right. So we will be discussing about all of them further. What do you mean by Project Gutenberg? So we all know that Microsoft Team is a platform where synchronous meetings can happen, and you can also take class in that. Then we have the different concepts like Sakai LMS and our Internet Archive that we are going to discuss further as well. Okay, so we have the Project Gutenberg. So it is the volunteer effort to digitalize and to archive the cultural works, as well as to encourage the creation and of course look at the distribution of the different e-books. This is what this is. By using the internet, you can now use different books. This was first founded in 1971 by an American writer, Michael S. Hart, right? So this is an internet source where you can just log on and you can access to free e-books there, right? This is the oldest digital library that we have. Now we have IBBLO. So this is a collection of collections. So there are, what is a book? Book is a collection of facts. So it is a collection of collections, and here you host diverse range of information. It is an open source content, and it includes software, music, and books related to literature, art, history, science, politics, cultural studies, etc. as an internet libraryship. So you can have your membership and you can access the free books from here. Then this is also a digital library. Then we have Internet Archive, and this one thing we all know. So we all knew about Internet Archive, and hence we were pretty sure that of course D would definitely be here, and by just looking at the options also you can see that D is not there in these two options, hence we are left with these two. And Project Gutenberg is also very, very common, hence we already know that C can be the right answer, and this educated guess will help you. But let us see what is Internet Archive. So it is an American digital library which started with the mission to universal access of all knowledge. So this is what, that universally now you can access the knowledge. It is free for everyone. It provides free public access to the collection of digitalized materials, including different websites, different software applications, there are different games, there are music, there are different videos, there are different movies, including different images, and there are millions of books also available there. Then we have the Microsoft Teams. So we have the answer, but let us discuss the other options as well. Microsoft Teams. What is this? This is actually used for a business communication platform. So Microsoft Teams was started by Microsoft as a part of Microsoft 365 family of products, and the Teams primarily is used as a service to it offers us the workspace to chat, video conferencing, file storage, and of course application integration. So this was basically used for the business communication. So it's a business communication platform that we have been using, and we studied during the time of COVID in our colleges using Microsoft Teams and Zoom applications. Then we have Sakai LMS, and it is important. It is basically an open source software, and it provides a robust set of online learning features for the higher education. So these LMS, these are the learning management systems. These are the different systems. This is how on these systems your different softwares can play, and you can create content. You can create your own MOOC'S to actually have this education platform, a software platform for the students to study. It is a free community source education software platform designed to support the teaching, research, and different collaborations. It includes many of the features common to the course management system. So there are different courses that is managed. So how can you tailor made your own courses? Which all courses do you need? You directly make your own course, and then a differentiated learning platform is created. That is, you choose what is to be studying, what you have to study. So this is all made on LMS, and Sakai is one of them. It includes many of the features common to the course management systems, including document distribution, a gradebook discussion, a live chat can also happen, assignment uploads, and online testing can also happen. So Sakai LMS is basically a software which can create different teaching platforms, but we're talking about digital libraries, and we also discussed the answer. Now, what is basically a SMS? That is the student management system. So an SMS is basically sometimes referred to as student information system, student management software, school management system, or RTO software. It manages all day operations of training organizations. So these are basically softwares that will help you develop the training courses for the students. Some of the SMS applications might include managing queries with the students, processing the students' admissions. The students can directly log into that portal and have admissions, talk about admissions. It can have enrolling of the new students, and then handling examinations, grades, assessment, academic progressions, and tracking awards, qualifications, attendance, maintaining the records, etc. can be done using these kinds of softwares. So if you see softwares that are used for all these purposes, they are called as the student management systems. Then we have the learning management systems as well. So these are called as the LMS. The abbreviation is LMS. It is basically a software application for the administration, for the documentation, for the tracking, and for reporting the learning activities. So when you are creating these contents, creating these courses using some software, you will call it as a learning management software. Most of the LMS are web-based, which facilitate anytime, anywhere, any pace access to learning content and to administration. Some LMS can also help to deliver and manage the instructor synchronous and asynchronous online teaching. So here you can use this platform, create your own MOOC courses, create your courses using the LMS software, and then you can interact with the students. So there can be different types of LMS that you prepare. You have to plan, deliver, manage, and most of the learning events can also be done here. There can be online sessions, there can be virtual classes, there can be instructor-led courses. So you can have direct classes that instructor will teach you. You can already have virtual classes, or you can have online pre-recorded classes as well here. Then these LMS are also called as the content management system. If they ask you what is CMS, so you know it is the content management system. However, according to Chapman and Hall, they are designed for much broader purpose and they are used to create information platforms in different organizations. So they are here a platform that will share the information between the two person, or you can say between the student and the teacher. What all are the different uses, and generally LMS should be able to do all these following things. It will centralize and automate the administration. You can use for it for the administration purposes these softwares, and we are talking about the software that can be used for the administration, for self-guided services, and for self-service you can use that. One most important that we are also studying, delivering of the learning content, right? So this is how you can create your own MOOC courses there. And like, what is Coursera? There are different courses on Coursera and all these courses are made on some softwares. So these are content management or LMS systems that we're talking about. It can also consolidate training initiatives, web-based platform, personalized content can also be created here. Then there are some strengths of these courses. Why are we using these courses? Because they give you an edge over other courses, other softwares. You can use different graphics, you can use, they can also centralize the learning environment. They can also provide you consistency between the teaching and the learning. So sometimes there can be a gap between the teacher and a student because of, say, COVID. You were not able to go to your schools. So these LMS can be used and softwares are can be created, different courses can be created and the teacher can use this. So it is available 24/7 and the learners can use it and can use it to their benefit. It provides very simple, easy to use platforms or templates that the teacher can use to help create the different software. It provides tracking of the students to know how they perform and how much time they spend on a different course. So here a course is created by a teacher and then she can also see how the student is performing, what all things that student is trying to search at, how much time was this quiz, how much time a child is taking to perform a particular quiz. So all these things are actually done by creating a software using the learning LMS, that is the learning management softwares. So it also saves the teacher's time. It provides for good quality education. It provides collaborative group learning opportunities. Here the students can work together. There can be creative activities that the teacher can do. So this LMS will guide. There can be different activities and it is a one-stop solution for the students to come forward and study. Whenever you are studying in a class, sometimes it can become monotonous. What if I say that there is one course on Coursera or one course on Ellison and you can directly or Udemy, all these are MOOC platforms. You can go there and then work. So all these courses will give you an edge. Of course, you can have certificates from there. You can work on all these courses, learn the different skills. They are more interactive than what a teacher does in the classroom. Of course, online is very different than offline, or you can also say that teachers are needed. This is the first question that we done, right? So all these teaching aids that you are using, all the online platforms, they can be important for you, but they cannot replace the teaching, but they can facilitate the teaching. So this is what LMS are. Then there is the learning content management. Learning content management system is related to the technology of the learning management system. It focuses on the development, management, publishing of the content that are typically used by the LMS. So the LCMS is a multi-user environment where developers may create, store, reuse, manage and deliver the digital learning objectives from the central object repository. So what is happening when you are creating these LMS, you use LCMS. So this is, you have to learn the full form. It is called as the learning content management systems. Then we have another question. The teachers should accept students as they are with whatever cognitive level they have. Then the reason is moralizing and being judgmental, exposing ignorance are the barriers to successful communication. What do you think is the correct option? This is the assertion reason question. The first was the assertion, second was the reason. So A is false but R is true. A is true but R is false. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation for A, and both A and R are true and R is not the correct explanation for A. I'll show you the answer. The answer to this question is A is false but R is true. So I'll read the assertion again. So teachers should accept the students as they are and with whatever cognitive level they have. So this says that the teacher cannot discriminate in her class. Again, we'll discuss the characteristics of a good teacher. So a good teacher, first of all, should know whatever she is teaching. The content that she is teaching should be clear. Second, she should motivate the students. She should know how to participate in the class. She should be flexible to change her behavior. All these things are the characteristics of a good teacher. A teacher cannot scum the child. A teacher cannot demotivate the child. The best part a teacher can do is to motivate them, to give them good constructive feedbacks to help them improve. So teachers should accept that yes, this is the cognitive level of my class, this is the knowledge level of my class, and I can improve. So the teacher thrives to improve herself and the students, but she cannot scum them. That means the assertion is correct. The moralizing and being judgmental, exposing ignorance are all barriers to successful communication. Right? So we say that the teacher cannot scum the child. That means your assertion is, your assertion is wrong. The teachers should accept the students. Yes, she should accept the students, but it is important that the teacher would try to change their learning behaviors. Hence, the teacher has to see that the cognitive level of the child is increased, right? So, here I read it wrong. The teacher has to see that she is putting the efforts in the cognitive levels of the students. But being moralizing and being judgmental and being exposing them to ignorance, that would be a wrong approach. So the teacher has to accept that yes, my class has this cognitive level and I can improve it. So that is what she will put more efforts. She cannot just sit together that yes, they are like this only, I cannot put more efforts. That means assertion goes wrong. Assertion should be that the teacher should not accept their level. The teacher should try to improve the level. But the reason is correct, that if the teacher would only be moralizing and always being judgmental, exposed to ignorance, the barriers will be there, and this communication that is there between the teacher and the student would lose. Hence, you can say that your assertion is wrong while your reason is correct, right? So that is why A becomes your right answer. So you don't get confused like what I did. This is what happens when you don't read the statement nicely. So this is, teachers should not accept the students as they are with whatever cognitive level they have. She should try to improve them. But being moralizing and being judgmental and exposing them to ignorance, not giving heed to their conversation or to their needs would actually create a barrier to the successful communication that the teacher is doing, right? So these were the few questions that I had for you. And I hope you understood today's class. This was full of facts. We discussed about the different LMS. We discussed about Sakai. We also discussed about the different digital libraries that we have. We see that how the teacher has to change their mindset, the cognitive level of a child, and how she has to have a good communication. Not always scripting and telling their faults can improve the child, but of course she has to maintain a good relationship with them. Then we saw that how teaching is actually a quadripolar, bipolar, tripolar process, and how it is the content, environment, teacher and the student that are interrelated with one another, right? Then we also saw that how teaching is very different from conditioning. It's different from, say, indoctrination, and it is different from training and instruction. Teaching encompasses all of these things, but the basic goal of teaching is to change the overall character. overall personality, and thrives for the holistic growth. One tip that you can take is always read the statements carefully, read the statements twice, read the answer, mark the answer properly. So the questions are not repeated, but of course the concepts can be. So read and revise. Have a wonderful day and keep on studying. Thank you so much for attending the class. If you have any doubt, you can write it in the comment section. Thank you.